welcome to Who Needs a Beer with me, Tom, co-owner of Indeed Brewing Company. We're here in Northeast Minneapolis again. This is our 9th show. Really excited to be here with you. Everybody's viewing us on the World Wide Web, Facebook, AOL.com, wherever you might be. Very excited to be here. It's good to be here with you, and it's going to be a good show. We're in, I think this is the 5th week of shelter in place. We had 9 shows so far because we were doing a few a week at the beginning, which was kind of crazy. But we've kind of figured this out. We've been going a little slower, and thanks to everybody who's been throwing ideas at us for the show and all the staff that's been working on it. It's been kind of fun. Something to do on a Friday for sure. And so grab a beer, crack a beer. We're going to have a great show today. First, we have a little bit of an announcement. You might have seen this gone out in our social media already. We are certainly all looking forward to Art of World weekend with our big event that weekend, Whirligig in May. Unfortunately, due to all the circumstances going on, both Art of World and Whirligig have been canceled. Definitely a big blow to us. We've always really enjoyed those 3 days of music and food and art and fun. You know, no matter the weather, people have always come out. There's been years when the rain's been going sideways and everybody's still out here having a great time. But we met our match this year with this pandemic, with this crisis and this disaster, and certainly, you know, it was a no-brainer, especially once Art of World was canceled, to cancel the event. Art of World has not been rescheduled or postponed. It's been canceled in full for 2020. So I know NEMA, the Art Association up here in Northeast, is going to be looking for ways to make up for that for the artists, which is great because artists are definitely suffering through this as well. And here at Indeed, we're going to find ways to make up for it as well. Certainly whenever it's safe and prudent for us to throw a big party, you know we will. I will be there leading the way. You'll see me with a beer in my hand. Actually, I'll probably be cleaning things up. I love doing that. So, you know, stay tuned to Indeed. We're going to have some things to do once we can get back together. I know we are planning a pre-sale for something called Happy Days Are Here Again VIP party. And that's actually available right now at the Indeed Brewing Company store at indeedbrewing.com. We're going to throw a very VIP exclusive party to celebrate the end of what essentially is a prohibition on us getting together and drinking beer. There's a lot of really cool things that we've done to kind of try to capture some of the essence of Whirligig that we were so excited to have. And we had a great lineup this year. So you can go to Spotify, and we have a link, at least on our website or our social media, to Spotify and a playlist of some of the great musicians that we're going to be performing here at Whirligig in 2020. And I know we've already had conversations with a number of them about future opportunities to play here as well. And we're certainly going to try to look to make that up both for all of our people who love to come up here for Whirligig and the broader Art of World event, and for our staff who enjoy working it. So today we have a very special guest. Sonia Grover is basically the queen bee of music booking at First Avenue. And I mean, if you're watching this show, you must know something about Minneapolis, the Twin Cities, the Upper Midwest, and if you do, then you know something about First Avenue, which is probably one of the most iconic music venues in all of the U.S., perhaps the world. You know, I love going to shows there. Can't wait to go to shows again. So we have this guy who works here, Ryan Bandy, who's our sort of sales director, super bright guy, and also a musician himself, a drummer, a very talented drummer. And he also has done a lot of the booking for us for Whirligig and for Hullabaloo over the years. He's got a lot of great connections and is just, you know, really cares about musicians and really cares about artists. And he's taken some time and done this interview with Sonia Grover at First Avenue, and they're going to talk about how COVID-19 has affected the music industry, which is one of those areas that might be kind of easy to maybe forget for a second. We all know we've been talking about bars and restaurants and breweries and a lot of service-oriented industries, but you know, musicians, and not just the musicians, but also everything that goes around them: sound people, guitar techs, roadies, promoters. You know, just the list goes on and on and on. All these events that have been canceled. And so we got that coming up pretty soon here. We also have, we're going to get the skinny from Colin on really what he believes is the right way to pour a beer. There's been a lot of debate on this. Before all this happened, for some reason, there was no debate on how to pour beer. We just poured beers and we drank them. But now maybe people have extra time on their hands, including Colin. We've had Emil on here. He's kind of tried to tell us how to pour beer. Next week, I might take my shot at it. But Colin is very opinionated about that. And he's going to teach us the actual right way to pour beer. He wanted me to say that specifically, the actual right way to pour beer. We've got what's going on in Milwaukee with the Milwaukee Minute is going to be on the show. Pete Irwin is going to go on another adventure into the wild, which is great. If you weren't here last week, you missed something pretty special. You should go back and watch the rerun. I think it's playing maybe on like TBS late at night or something, the reruns, I'm not sure. And lots more fun stuff. So I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you have a beer in your hand. If not, grab one. And we're going to take a little journey on 94. We're going to head east and we're going to head into Wisconsin, deep into Wisconsin. Hey guys, some nice people there walking by outside the brewery, not anywhere near us. And he's going to tell us all about how to check the great code dates and how to make a good pour. So Colin in Wisconsin, let's see what you got.
Hi guys, my name's Colin Sins. I'm a sales rep at Indeed Brewing Company. I used to go around to parties and put on events, go to bars, talk to people, sell beer, and have a lot of fun. And now I sit at home with my daughter and I answer emails and calls and text messages. My life has lost a lot of meaning and all the days seem to blend into one another. I sometimes feel really high and sometimes really low, and today's one of those in-between days where I mustered enough emotional strength to put out a video for you guys. And what I wanted to talk about was some of the bullshit that's been put on this channel, particularly how to pour a beer by Emil. You're a total hack, and I just kind of want to show you how to really do it. And I also want to talk about freshness codes. On the bottom of the can, it tells you when you need to drink this beer by. It's total bullshit, and don't tread on me. Don't tell me what to do. We have a quality control manager named James. We used to have one named Daniel, and no one can tell the difference. And apparently they got some degrees at some universities, like Stick Up Your Ass University and Telling Other People What to Do University. I like to drink them like 6 or 7 months past the best by date. It has a certain umami flavor, and I can't really put my finger on it, but it's almost like the beer tastes rusty. And my grandpa, he grew up on a farm and they had rusty well water, and he lived well into his 60s, so I think he did pretty good. So what you want to do with the can is you want to shake it up before you open it, and not for any flavor reasons, but because it looks cool when you open it. And if you can't feel good, you might as well look cool. So you open that up, get a lot of the foam all around the top. You're gonna want to put it in a vessel. I got this little thing that my wife bought. It's total bullshit. It's supposed to be for cereal, but I mean, how much cereal can you put in here? You want to do a big pour like that in there. Put the lid on, shake it up, get a big head, and then you get a vessel here and do another big pour. So that's kind of what you're going for right there. Oh man, tastes really good. So, I'm feeling better already. Thanks for watching my video. Hope you guys have a good rest of coronavirus and stay safe.
It's pretty clear we're able to attract only the best talent here at Indeed Brewing Company in our employees. Obviously, what an example of how much we care about the quality of the experience with our beer. You should definitely only drink old beer. Forget this new stuff. Ask the liquor store. Maybe they do have something in the back stock room that's been sitting next to the furnace for maybe 3 to 6 months. Shaking is good, I think, too. Maybe even if you get some new beer, you could even just leave it in the trunk of your car on a hot summer day for like maybe a week or two, and you probably get the same experience that Colin is having. What do you say, rusty nails? So actually, disclaimer: please don't do anything that Colin says ever. I would never do that. I prefer not even to be in the same state as him. If I find out he's heading west to Minnesota for some sort of meeting, I usually jump in the car and head east to Wisconsin. I feel safer if I'm with, even crossing an interstate. I usually take the back roads. But anyway, thanks Colin for the video anyway, even though nobody should ever listen to anything. I mean, that's, you may as well be telling people to inject Lysol into your veins, which I know some people have been suggesting lately, which is ridiculous. Anyway, so if you're out of beer though, and I'm sure that made you thirsty for some beer, maybe consider getting some more beer. And despite all the chaos in the world, getting beer can be quite, an easy and enjoyable experience. You have lots of options. You can go to your local liquor store. If you have questions, maybe give them a call before you do. But most all liquor stores are open. Some have reduced hours. And when you do go to those local liquor stores, I highly encourage you to support drinking local beer. Or just drink the breweries that you want to support, the breweries that you want to survive. And remember that Anheuser-Busch and Miller and Coors and these big brewers, they're not going to have a hard time surviving this. It's going to be the little guys like Indeed. It's going to be the little guys like all the other Northeast breweries, Bauhaus, Fair State. You know, the list goes on and on and on. So just remember that when you're buying beer at the liquor store, that you are choosing who you want to support through this, and that's a lifeline for a lot of us brewers. Liquor stores are selling a lot more beer, but a lot of craft brewers aren't necessarily seeing quite as much lift as the liquor stores are seeing. But we really respect those liquor stores and all the work that they're doing and appreciate that. And so, you know, I think anytime you go out in the public, try to be kind and be patient, and thank those people that are working out there. They may just be ringing up your transaction for your beer at the liquor store, but hey, that's an essential duty right now. If they weren't there right now, you wouldn't be able to get your beer. So besides liquor stores, you can also come down to Indeed here, both in Minneapolis and Milwaukee. We do to-go beer. You can order online, and we highly encourage you to do that. You order online, and we'll be able to schedule in advance your pickup. We're doing beer delivery here in Minneapolis. There are the hours right there on the screen. We're 7 days a week here in Minneapolis, and we're down in Milwaukee. We're a little short part of the week, and you just walk up right to the front of the building here in Minneapolis, 711 15th Avenue Northeast, and same thing in Milwaukee, 530 South 2nd Street, Milwaukee. You can see that crowler operation going on there. We're extremely hygienic. We're very careful about just exposure to customers. We don't let anybody in the building. There's pretty good separation from everybody. And come on down. It's a pretty cool little operation we have going on there. We have great beers. Stay tuned to our social media. We have really cool stuff that you guys can do. We do flight nights, and those sell out very quickly. So it's something you want to get on top of. And then so that's kind of just go to our website, indeedbrewing.com. I'll spare you the www. And then let's see what else we got here. We've covered all of that. And once you get your crowlers home, you certainly want to enjoy them. You want to not do anything that Colin suggested to do with your beer. You want to pour them in a nice clean glass and keep them cold. But after that, there's this little thing that we were a little uncomfortable with when we first found out, which is that you can't just take an empty crowler can like this and throw it in the recycling bin because of the label. I was certainly very confused and I was like, I don't know what do I need to do to get this label off. I thought about burning it off. I thought about maybe just waiting for a long period of time to see if the label would just fall off, maybe 20 years before I recycled it, but then the crowlers started to stack up. So there's a reason why I don't do actually really anything here at this brewery except for maybe sometimes do this live show, because we have really intelligent people that work for us, including Katie Eager, who's our events manager, and she taught me something new today in this video, which is how, once you're done drinking these crowlers, and how you take the label off so you can recycle.
Hi folks, I'm Katie. I'm the event manager at Indeed, so not sure if you've noticed, but there aren't any events right now. So I'm kind of just marooned at home like everybody else, trying to help out where I can, drinking through a bunch of crowlers, cooking a lot, doing a ton of dishes, watching the old recycling bin fill up a little quickly. So it occurred to me that we hadn't really touched on crowler recycling yet. There was a little fluffle a while back where we learned that labels weren't recyclable, whereas cans were. So best practice from that point on was to just start removing labels before we recycle our cans. No big deal. You make it a habit. It's a quick second. Easy peasy. Hot tip. So if you peel up like the first inch or so like that much, stick them to the countertop. You can do this with paper labels on cans as well, and roll it out. Ta-da, you got a recyclable can. You're gonna see some of these paper labels out in the liquor store soon too, so you wanna do the same thing with those. Quick shout out to all the Indeed folks that are working so hard to put these labels on. Sorry, I just told everybody how to take them off, but you guys are the best. And I miss you. I miss you. I miss all the folks at home. I miss parties. I miss restaurants. I can't wait to do all of that stuff again. So stay safe. We'll see you soon. Take your labels off.
Thanks, Katie. That's great. Katie is a great employee of ours who she kind of said she's not keeping busy or just sheltering in place, but she's keeping busy, and all of our employees here at Indeed are finding ways to keep moving the ball forward here for us and for our community and for all of our employees. And just cool little things like that our employees are doing. So thanks a lot, Katie. And yeah, come on down to Indeed and get some crowlers. delicious, fresh beer straight from the brewery. You don't necessarily need to go to the liquor store. I know we have a lot of people that live here right in Northeast Minneapolis or near the brewery in Milwaukee that can just walk down and grab it. So we've done this a few times, but I'm still not completely satisfied with the amount of money that we've raised for our servers, for our beer tenders here, both in Minneapolis and Milwaukee. So you should consider tipping them. And look at that graphic right there. You know, we have spent a lot of time, not a lot of money producing this show. And you can just go ahead and right there, that little Venmo right here, you see that? That's a QR code right there. And all you do is you put your phone up against it in your Venmo app, and you can send money to Indeed Brewing. And we will take that money and give it to our taproom staff, who usually, you know, if we'll be sitting, what time is it? It's Friday at 5:16 p.m. Raise your hand if you've been to Indeed Brewing Company on Friday it's 5:16 p.m. We got 2 people in this room that are raising their hands, and I'm sure a lot of you are watching the show right now have too. And you know, it's kind of, I get emotional thinking about how great it was to come out and see all of your bright, shiny faces. It's, you know, it's difficult being a brewer and not being able to come out and see and talk to and share the experience of drinking our beer with the public. And I know that everybody who works here and will work here again as a beer tender, both in Minneapolis and Milwaukee. They love that experience too, and I'll be honest, that's how we weed people out at the beginning. If it's obvious that they don't like being in this environment, then we don't want them to work here, because you folks have been coming in here for a long time and spending your hard-earned money on beers here to enjoy and to relax, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the beer, enjoy the service. And that service part is the part that I think, at least on this side of the bar, I miss the most. We have such a hard-working taproom staff, and I know they're all doing what they can to get by, but they could use your support by just tipping them $1. Just pretend, crack a beer at home, and pretend that you are just tipping them $1. And we will we'll shout you out on the show. We'll make you internationally famous. And look at these: Mitchell Gulbranson, thank you. Matt Plank, we got John Eater, Tyler Nelson. You know, another cool thing that's been happening is we've got some cans out on the market, the Spring Beer and the Dunkel and the Northeast Beer, that were originally going to be released just in this tap room and only draft only, but our amazing marketing team and our amazing packaging team and our amazing sales teams, they, I don't want to say scrambled, because they did it so well, and it was so well executed. Now these cans are out in the market. They put it all in cans, and there's labels on there for the same Venmo code. And so if you crack one of those beers, which I mean, the Spring Beer is flying. There's this little graphic of the Spring Beer. So there's a lot of ways to help support our taproom staff. We here at Indeed Brewing Company are doing everything we can as well. We got the growler game going, and we're looking forward to bringing those people back as soon as possible. So keep tipping. Every little bit counts. Josh Bornstein, Thomas Kiekoffer, thank you guys. Very generous tips right there. We will remember you when we open back up, and I'm pretty sure if I recognize you, or if you say, hey Tom, I tipped some beer, some money during the Venmo thing, I'm probably going to give you at least one free beer. So thank you so much, and we will do this again later in the show, so feel free to take time and tip, and I will shout you out if you've ever been famous. And if you put a comment in there, if you want me to read a comment, I can say hi to your grandmother, I can ask somebody out on a date for you, I can do anything you'd like. I won't tell anybody that they suck or anything like that, none of that stuff, but just give me anything and I'll say it. You know, like Mitchell here said, he missed last week's show, but still looking forward to joining y'all in the tap room soon. Thanks for the Friday afternoon chuckles and some damn good beer. Cheers. Thank you, Mitchell. That's cool, man. I miss you. I want to see you in here soon until it happens again. But until then, please help support our bartenders, our beer tenders, Minneapolis and Milwaukee, so that they're still here when you come back. So we're going to move on. Ryan Bandy is a guy who's been here for a number of years. He looked like a baby when he started, and now he looks a little haggard at times. No offense, Ryan. You look great, actually. But a very energetic fellow, and he is very involved in the music scene. He's a very talented drummer. If he's played at Art of World, he's played at Hullabaloo, he's done a lot of the booking over the years, he's got great relationships throughout the music industry, fantastic guy, and he has sat down to talk to Sonia Grover, who is the booker at First Avenue, the First Avenue here in Minneapolis, and it's a pretty interesting conversation. Like we mentioned at the beginning of the show, musicians are a group of people, and all the people that surround them have been very, very, very negatively affected by this issue with this crisis. You know, I mean, whether it be the musicians, whether it be the venues, whether it be the bookers, whether it be the agents, whether it be the people who are doing the stage stuff, the sound people, the guitar techs, the truck drivers that move bands around, the bus drivers that move bands around. on and on it goes, right? And all of us who want to go see live music. So Ryan took some time to talk to Sonia, and we're gonna catch up with them.
So yeah, today we have Sonia Grover of First Avenue's main booker, head booker. Been there for a long time, over 20 years. How long have you been at First Ave?
22 years.
Damn. So yeah, kind of like the queen bee as far as every band that goes through there and is making it happen. Nightclub talent buyer of the year, I saw at Polster. So yeah, tell me about the community, the Twin Cities Community Trust, kind of how it started, which is obviously pre-COVID, and now like what role is it playing, and why does it matter? Why do we care?
So in roughly 2006, our well-known stage manager, Conrad Swerkerson, got into a really bad bike accident and discovered that insurance wasn't going to cover all of his medical bills. So two of our esteemed colleagues, James Baker and Miles Kennedy, were like, that's unacceptable. And so they, I can't remember the exact order, but they put together a benefit show to raise money for Conrad. And people were so supportive that Miles and James quickly discovered that, like, hey, we're going to have more money than we need for Conrad's bills. Let's set up a trust and put the money there so that any other people in the live music industry can access if needed for like living expenses or medical bills.
Totally.
And it was set up too initially for like, it was accessible to musicians, but also like an emphasis on like stage crew, production people,
Totally.
like people more behind the scenes who don't have as many resources as some musicians to help.
Right. And don't have an outlet too at some level, like they can't post on their Facebook or something, to thousands of people.
Yep. Yeah. And so they wanted to sort of like stand up for those people.
It's awesome. We were like, obviously like everyone kind of like this hits you like a freight train, and you're like, first you kind of look at your own business and like for Indeed, 50% of the revenue is gone, and we're like, okay, how are we doing this? Let's figure it out. But then after that, you're like, as we start canceling Worthy Gay, we have to cancel that today. And like these things that we had this chunk of money that is going to go to bands, right? Or go to sound people, or you're like, shit, that's happening for them all summer. Like, how are they? You look at all these affected communities, and you're like, how else can we help? Like for the service industry and for the music industry. Yeah. So like that's why we put the QR code onto a beer that we're releasing. Basically, put the QR code. Yeah, and to me, it's just like about access to information. And there's like, just get it out there, because if it's 10% of the people want to give, well, now we have to. If you can reach 1 million people, you get more people willing to give. And so. And I know a lot of us, some people are looking for places right now to like, how do I help? That's a lot of people. We get that a lot. Like, where do I go? Who should I help with? Who should I give money to? Like, and so this is just one way that's like, this is a huge one for our city. And like for a part of the culture that Indeed, but like everyone I think in Minneapolis has a lot of pride in, is like the music industry. And like, it supports a lot of people. So it's like, yeah, it's super crucial. Tell us a little bit about COVID, like First Ave, musicians, like the industry, like, obviously it's shifted everything. Like, what's kind of the hardest part about the shutdown? And like, are there certain types of like, things that are harder to redo or reschedule or replace?
A popular refrain among like the music industry people is that the venues are going to be, the venues were the first to close and we're going to be the last to open. So, like most other institutions, establishments will be open for way longer, a long time before we get to open our doors, unfortunately. And that means these industry people are going to be out of work for a really long time. So the hardest part obviously is seeing all of our friends and coworkers, or a big chunk of our coworkers and friends out of work and not knowing for how long. And that's like across all levels, from like agents and managers to promoters to, door people, sound people, like
totally
contacts or whatever. You just don't know when you're coming back, and just not knowing that, I think being out of work right now sucks, and then not knowing when you can go back makes it even harder. So that's been obvious for in terms of music stuff, like a really down point of COVID among all the others. And then also for like the bands who've had to postpone their tours and don't have income and don't know, maybe their records getting pushed back because there's delay at the vinyl plants or things like that, and not knowing when they can tour again. So that's pretty, like, that's, I feel for all of them. And then, too, when shit goes south, it's like, at least sometimes, you can go see a show and it makes everything better, but we don't even have that right now. So that's just like the cherry on fucking top of it.
I know, that was like the stuff that we like, as like part of the bar and beer industry, is like, it's always been the thing, right? It's like when everything's fucking on fire, you can like, well, at least like let's grab a beer, right? Like at least grab a show. And it's so like we can't even do like the
Yeah.
one thing, you know, is like, yeah,
It could be a long ways off. I don't know how long, but I know that like it's important, like if you can, to support, you know, like venues like First Avenue and bands
right.
and other industry people like right now. And that
No,
even it's
totally.
like buying tickets or buying merch or like again donating to the trust. So these people can like help, you know, stay on their feet and be ready to go
Yeah.
once doors open. And then also like just once things are ready to get going, just be prepared to go to like lots and lots of shows, like all the
Totally.
shows, you know? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So, you know, I think bands have been able to kind of talk about how we can support them recently, and like, hey, this merch or this stuff. What about for First Ave? Like, how do we, you know, I know that the trust for sure. What are some ways that we can help support, like people, our fans can support First Ave, which is not the bands, you know, but it's like kind of so symbiotic that we need First Ave more than ever. So like, how can we help you guys in this time period, or the staff specifically?
for First Ave specifically, like again, buying tickets, buying merch. We just had unveiled this collaboration with Vans. Yeah,
I saw the shoes. Yeah.
Tuesday, these really cool shoes. They're doing it with a lot of
Cool.
small local businesses, and so like buying a pair
Buy
of
some of
those.
those. Tell me about that. I saw that.
Honestly,
Um,
that was our friend David Huckfelt put that together. We had absolutely nothing to do with
Sweet.
that idea, you know, or anything until the last minute when they came to us and asked if we'd be able to support. So Huckfelt did a really good job of putting together this. It'll be a live stream airing on Thursday the 23rd, with Eric Koskinen, Huckfeld is playing, Lissy, and Dave Simonette. And
Yeah.
proceeds go to Second Harvest for food
Cool.
shelves and stuff. So it's pretty amazing. And it's awesome to see like there are other bands too in town doing, and you know, some of the proceeds will go to the musicians, thankfully. And so it's nice that there are other, you know, there are people in town that are like, A, it's a way for the bands to get a little bit of money to help make up for stuff they lost, but B, it's a way to support, you know, the community by giving money to, you know,
Right.
and things along those lines. So stuff like
Yeah.
that is pretty awesome. And when he asked us if we could support, we were like, hell fucking yes. So
Yeah. What's the first band? I was wondering, what's the first band you booked, like at First Ave? And then I was kind of also wondering, you know, what are the ones you're most proud of? Like, what were the ones kind of throughout your time that you've been like, after you got them booked and like you got them to say okay, or they had them have a good experience, you were like proud of that over some other ones?
in terms of shows that I'm the most proud of, like I got to help book the Replacements reunion tour at Midway Stadium in 2014. And that was like the pinnacle
Yeah.
of everything. It's not that it's all been downhill from there, but it'll be like
No.
really hard to top that for
Yeah.
me. Because I'm a huge Replacements fan, and I never thought I'd get to see them, you know, again, let alone
Right.
help the show. So
Like be a part of it. Yeah. That's
yeah,
cool.
that was pretty awesome.
How do you get your new music? And like, what have you been listening to? Like for all the people sitting at home all day, like what are some albums they should put on right now?
Honestly, it's hard for me to not hear or learn about new music just because of what I do. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I sort of get paid for it. Like I used to go to shows all the fucking time, sometimes regardless of who was playing, just to check it out. You know, I'm just a huge live music fan, and it's fun for me to see bands for the most part. So that, you know, that way. And then I listen to a lot of local radio stations. I
Cool.
listen to a lot of online radio stations, Spotify, you know, a lot of agents and managers and stuff hit me up with new bands all the time. Honestly, right now, since COVID hit, I've listened to, prior to, you know, being stuck at home, was not really a podcast person, but I've sort of like,
Nice. Yeah. Which ones? What have you been listening to?
I started listening to the Crime Junkies, which is a true crime podcast.
Mhm.
I like it because it's about, you know, 45 minutes long, and there's no like small talk or any sort of bullshitting.
Yeah. None of this bullshit like this, you know?
Yeah, no, it's just like right into it.
Yeah. I was told by our producer to keep it snappy before, and like I feel like I
Cool.
haven't really done a good job at that. So let's go rapid fire. Favorite venue outside of Minneapolis?
Probably the 930 Club in DC, because they're another like long-standing independent venue.
Beer or wine?
Wine. I don't drink beer at all.
Wine or liquor?
Wine. I'm wine with the occasional
Nice.
shot of tequila.
Yeah.
Pinot Grigio or rosé sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah. Most recent binge watch?
I've been watching the new Killing Eve, the new series of Killing Eve,
Yeah.
a couple episodes, and then rewatching Curb Your Enthusiasm because it just makes me laugh, and it's really good to laugh right now. Feels really
Totally.
good. To laugh now.
Pizza or burger?
Pizza.
Most memorable show of last year, 2019?
I saw Neil Young at the Orpheum in January, and that was like the first time I'd ever seen Neil Young. And right away I called him, like, that's gonna be my show of the year. And my coworkers are like, you can't call your show of the year in January. I'm
Early,
like,
yeah.
I'm an expert. I totally
Yeah. Favorite and least favorite band of the 90s?
I don't talk about least favorite bands, like
Cool.
unless privately maybe, but yeah.
Totally. What are some bands that like always ask for local craft beer? You know, are there some that like stand out?
Honestly, I say all of them, all of the bands.
Every
Most of the
band,
bands,
yeah,
every band,
totally.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Cool. I mean, that's kind of all we have and all I have.
All right, cool.
You know, I want to make sure everyone knows to, go give to the Twin Cities Music Community Trust.
TwinCitiesMusicCommunityTrust.org.
Yeah, and you'll find some QR codes on our on Northeast Beer that was just released, because it's just one more kind of industry and corner of the industries that have been ruined by this, and like we have to kind of come together. So I appreciate your time, obviously, today.
Yeah, thanks for helping us get the word out about the trust.
Yeah, of course, it's important. And yes, when shows come back, go to every single one of them.
Every single one.
Be crazier than ever.
Please.
Yep.
Please.
Cool. Thanks, Sonia.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that was pretty cool. What a great interview, and I can't wait to go to a show at First Ave again. As long as sometimes people are pretty tall. People get mad at me when I stand in front of them, and I don't know. I have a bone to pick with that. I mean, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to stand at the back of the room all the time? But anyway, we'll save that for another day. If you want to be one of the people that shows me from behind First Ave, I don't really care actually. It'll be fun. We'll be there anyway. A super cool interview. Definitely consider opening up your wallet to support the Twin Cities Music Community Trust. It's helping support musicians through this extremely difficult time. You know, and I know most of my friends who live like rock stars, even if they're not, if they're musicians. So you know, they could probably use your help, and yeah, it's going to help musicians. So definitely think about that. And that Northeast beer that we put out there, that QR code goes to that trust to help those musicians. So thanks again, Ryan, and thank you, Sonia, for taking time to do that and inform us about all that. So coming up next, we've got our favorite doorman at Indeed, who is a retired middle school history teacher, and he's been doing the same as the rest of us. He's been sheltering in place. Some of these tips that you guys are being so generous about are going to him as well, Cam. He's going to take us back to the 1850s, and here's a history lesson and a jam with Cam, which you may have seen the jam with Cam if you ever tried to come to Indeed at like 1 in the morning, because he'll be sitting out on the stoop playing guitar with some of our staff, and they may have even given you a pull off the growler back then. So he's going to serenade us with Stephen Foster's "Hard Times Come Again No More." Take it away, Cam.
Hey everybody, welcome. You know, at Indeed, one of our favorite activities once we get back to work and pouring beer and drinking beer is to sit out on the stoop after work on Fridays and Saturdays when it's nice out, and the staff and I will have a couple of beers and maybe pass around the guitar and have a little fun. So usually the song selections that I've made are kind of stuck in the 70s, maybe the 60s. I've played over 50 different songs on the stoop. This is a different one. But the song today is going way back to the 50s, the 1850s, 1854. Stephen Foster wrote this song, and he was born the 4th of July, 1826, which was the nation's 50th birthday. It was also the day that both Thomas Jefferson and John Adams passed away. So the life of Stephen Foster was relatively short, and he died in 1864 at the age of 37. And he apparently had the flu and fell in his New York apartment and cut his neck and died a couple days later of the complications. So Stephen Foster lives on in the annals of American songwriting, and this is one he wrote. Let us pause in life's pleasures and count its many tears, while we all sup sorrow with the poor. There's a song that will linger forever in our ears. Oh, hard times come again no more. Though we seek mirth and beauty and music light and gay, there are frail forms fainting at the door. Though their voices be silent, their pleading eyes will say, oh, hard times come again no more. There's a song that's the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. There's a pale drooping maiden who toils her life away with a worn heart whose better days are o'er. Though her voice would be merry, she's sighing all the day. Oh, hard times come again no more. There's a song that's the sigh of the weary. Hard times come again no more. Many days you have lingered around my cabin door. Oh, hard times come again no more. Oh, hard times come again no more. Back to you, Tom.
Thanks, Cam. Man, I miss that guy. Coming in here, I usually come in at random times, and he's out there, and I can just stop in and talk to Cam at the door here in Minneapolis, and he'll tell me everything that's going on. He'll tell me about what he's been up to. He'll tell me how the night's been going. He'll tell me about the party bus that came in earlier, and he so politely convinced them that they didn't want to be here anymore. Cam is the bomb, and he's really good at that guitar, and just we're so lucky to have him. And someday on the show I'll tell you the story about how we hired Cam. He used to be a customer here, and the hiring story is pretty funny. So, who's hungry? So many restaurants are perfecting their takeout menus, and we want to encourage you to choose takeout.
I'm hungry.
So it's pretty exciting development over the last week or so here, where bars and restaurants can now sell alcohol to go, which while I will be the first to say I don't believe the law is perfect, it does allow you to take home a 6-pack or a 4-pack of 16 ounce or a bottle of wine per order. I'm not sure if anybody tried what I suggested last week, which is putting in multiple orders and to get multiple 6-packs. But if you have, you should let us know how that worked out. I'm not encouraging you to break the law. I'm encouraging you to bend it right before it breaks. But there are so many restaurants that have been perfecting their takeout food, and there's a lot of great takeout available out there. And you should definitely consider doing that. I know I have definitely been cooking a lot at home. I know I've talked about how it can be dangerous to cook at home. We touched on disease and illness. We didn't touch on kitchen fires, grease fires. Don't make the mistake of throwing water on a grease fire, because if you do, you're only going to be eating takeout for a while, which would be great for them, but for you it may not be so good. But anyway, I digress. Choose takeout, and nowadays you have so many great options to find Indeed beer. at these places to get takeout. So, for example, you can go to the Blue Door Longfellow. You get a Juicy Lucy there, Blue Sea, Bangkok Blue Sea, all these other Blue Seas they have there. You get their tots, you get their wings, and you get some Indeed to go. And they have a special deal, I believe, during happy hour. It's like $2 something Indeeds. Check out Blue Door. Allery's in St. Paul has got Indeed beer to go there with their great food. High Low Diner, fantastic spot there right on Lake Street. Consider getting some food there to go. And then the Bungalow Club, to name a few. St. Dinette will be hosting, will be doing a take and make Michelada kits. Michelada. I screwed that up again. I even spent time in Mexico, but I don't remember much when I come back. A Michelada kit with Mexican Honey Light and their homemade Bloody Mary mix. So how does that sound? St. Dinette. So get some food, maybe have a brunch, drink some of those. So choose takeout, support those local restaurants, and come on down to Indeed here too. You have Indeed beer to go, and you also have Centro across the street, which is doing tacos. They have some really cool take and bake options too. Enchiladas, I had some of those the other week. Jamie is the owner over there. She's doing a great job and working really, really hard. And you can also get alcohol to go from there too. So they have some really cool margarita kits as well. So just explore your options. Don't sit at home and be boring and eat the same goulash. Today I had the same lunch as I had for dinner last night. That's not exciting. I'm gonna become a boring person. So I'm gonna get some takeout tonight. I'm gonna spice things up. I think I'm gonna get Carboni's pizza tonight. We'll see. I know it doesn't sound like spicing things up, but Dan over at Carboni's in South Minneapolis, in Cedar there in the Parkway, awesome guy, great pizza, awesome food, and I've heard they've been busy. They've been slaying it as far as you can slay it in this condition. So that's what I'm gonna do tonight. Consider the same thing for yourselves. We got another great little segment coming up here. Matt Plank. He is our on-premise beer manager, which is beer speak for the guy that controls all of our salespeople, or tries to control them, who sell beer to bars and restaurants. So he's got some opinions about food, about bars. He's a great guy. He's one of the sweetest guys you'll ever meet in your life, I think that's why he's so good at his job, because who could ever say no to this guy? He can sell beer to the side of a barn. Is that a saying? So Matt is he's the most excited about restaurants being able to sell beer, and he's going to come to us live from Spitz. Matt, can you hear us on Spitz over there and kind of what they call Northeast Minneapolis, which really isn't Northeast Minneapolis, no offense, but we can talk about that up there on the bridge at Central and Broadway, and they have great Mediterranean street food. Let's hear from Matt.
Hey everybody, Matt from Indeed here. We are here at Spitz in Northeast Minneapolis with Chris Law, who runs the joint. So tell us a little bit about Spitz and kind of what your bread and butter is here in Northeast Minneapolis.
Yeah, well, Spitz is a Mediterranean street food concept. It started about 11 years ago in Los Angeles with two partners, one of which is my brother-in-law.
Oh, cool.
So my wife and I used to go out to visit him in Los Angeles and try Spitz, and we just kept saying, boy, this is great. This would be wonderful in Minneapolis. How can we do it here?
Okay.
So we've been here in our location for 4 years now.
Yep.
And really I got involved through family, and we really want to bring some fun atmosphere and some delicious food to this neighborhood, and we really see ourselves as a neighborhood place.
And so obviously as a neighborhood place, you like to bring people into the restaurant. As we're dealing with COVID, we're in a spot where you can't bring people in. So tell us kind of how that's affected your business and what business is looking like these days.
Yeah, it's definitely been quite a shift in the mentality of trying to fill the restaurant to now just trying to send as much food out the door as we can. So it's been a challenge, as it has been for many restaurants, in figuring out how to make this shift and
Exactly.
to get all of the food out, figure out appropriate staffing and such.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about kind of when this first hit, sort of how you felt, the decisions that you had to make.
Yeah, well, right away was one of the worst days in my professional life of having to make the hard decision to let go of some staff.
Mm-hmm.
We fancy ourselves as really a family around here, and having to cut people that we all really care about was very difficult, as I know it has been for a lot of businesses. But at the same time, we had to make some decisions in order to continue to function. Now that we've progressed a little further into it and our business has ramped up a little bit, we've actually brought a couple of people back, which has been very gratifying.
What does the to-go and the delivery kind of look like for you guys?
Yeah, we've had a lot of our regulars continue to support us regularly, which has been wonderful. We've heard time and time again from the people in this neighborhood who are so supportive of all the businesses, I believe, coming in saying, hey, we're spreading our money around so that we can keep all the places we love going.
Cool.
And it's been really heartwarming, actually, to have conversations with people and hear how much some people really care about Spitz.
Yeah. Now, obviously, looking at me, you can tell for me the highlight is going to be the food. So you mentioned Mediterranean street food. Just tell us a little bit more and dive into the menu a little bit more.
Sure. Yeah, I would say our most popular item since we've opened and continues to be to today is our street cart wrap. All of our food is made fresh in-house. We make all the sauces in-house as well, and really we feel our food is just bursting with flavor. So the street cart wrap is by far and away our most popular. Right now, I believe that our quinoa bowls, which we launched a little over a year ago, are incredibly great for takeout because they really hold up well.
Cool.
And for most people, they provide 2 meals. So someone can eat half of it and then put it in the fridge and eat the other half later. So the remix bowl has been our most popular as well.
Okay.
So it's basically just tons of fresh vegetables, homemade sauces, and then choice of protein. So it's and the quinoa is gluten-free, so that's really worked well. Paired with falafel, which is gluten-free vegan. Yeah. You can make any of those bowls gluten-free or vegan quite easy. So that's been very popular as well, and lots of people wanting to eat vegan these days.
Yeah, so that's something to keep in mind for all you folks out there who are trying to eat vegan or gluten-free. Some great options at Spitz. So then, Chris, the last thing that I'm going to have you do is look right into the camera, have you give people your website, and if you're taking phone orders at all, give them your phone number too.
You bet. SpitzRestaurant.com is where you can find all of our options for takeout and delivery, view pictures of our food items and all the pricing for everything. We have an app. It's just Spitz on the App Store for Google or for iOS. Phone number for phone orders, 612-584-4922.
So that's Chris from Spitz in Northeast Minneapolis. Lots of great carry-out and delivery options right here in the Twin Cities. Give Spitz a try if you haven't. And if you're a regular, thanks for supporting them. Thanks for supporting local business. Cheers, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, man, I miss going to Spitz right now. That was like my go-to lunch spot. So often I'd run down there and get a street cart Donner wrap with sweet potato fries and a day tripper. So good, so good, so good. And but they're doing takeout, so I might have to grab some on the way home tonight. So maybe it won't be Carboni's pizza. Maybe I'll grab one of those street cart Donners and then I'll wrap it up in a big pepperoni pizza from Carboni's and eat the whole thing all by myself. We'll see, but thanks a lot to Matt. Pretty incredible camera work. He didn't have like the gimbal thing or anything. He was doing that all by hand, and so amazing talents coming out of the Indeed plays here. I'm always impressed. So coming up next, what do we got here? I gotta get my papers in order. We've got Casey from Cream and Amber, which is a great kind of book, coffee shop bar, and she's going to tell us about their beer and books to go program.
And the weather.
And the weather's coming up right after that.
Hi everybody, I'm Katie.
And I'm Casey.
And we're with Cream and Amber in Hopkins. We're a new and used bookstore that also serves beer. And today we're going to talk about some great book pairings for Indeed Spring Beer that just came out. First up, I'm recommending The Wildlands by Abby Genie, and it explores human relationships with nature, and it's a bit of a thriller that follows a family around after a devastating tornado hits their town.
And I'm recommending Future Home of the Living God. This one is by Louise Erdrich. She's a Minnesota author, and it's a dystopian thriller that talks about what would happen if evolution comes to a grinding halt. It asks tough questions about family and survival and will captivate you from beginning to end. If you need a book for the kiddos, we're also recommending A New Green Day. This takes kids on a day outside where they encounter mud and leaves and all sorts of fun naturey things. It's a great book for the season. You can order books from us online at books.creamandamber.com. We're open for curbside pickup for books, and we also have some takeout food and to-go cans of beer.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, everybody.
Hey Tom, we're headed into another weekend, so we have some good weather for you in the Twin Cities. Maybe not so good in Milwaukee, kind of a mixed bag, but let's break it down here. So Twin Cities 7-day, you've got Saturday, Sunday, both sunny. We do see a little bit of a chance of thunderstorm activity Saturday afternoon. There'll be kind of pop-up thunderstorms, so probably most people won't actually get rain, but at least keep that in your plans as you head out, maybe for a walk, maybe to sit in your backyard Saturday afternoon. Looking ahead, you warm up a bit on Monday, but you start to see an increase in shower chances, cloudiness, kind of centered around Monday night to Tuesday. So we'll keep an eye out for that. Looking ahead though, look at this as you head closer to Friday in the Twin Cities. Next Friday, you're back up near 70, so not too bad. How about Milwaukee? Unfortunately, if you're watching from Milwaukee right now, you've got wind coming in kind of east-northeast, and that's going to keep your temperatures colder because it's coming off of Lake Michigan. So you've got a high of 48 for Saturday, some clouds, maybe some sprinkles or light rain, things like that. Monday, you clear up, but notice your temperature is still a little bit more in check than in the Twin Cities. So you're about 5 to 10 degrees cooler in Milwaukee than in Minneapolis. Looking ahead then Tuesday, Wednesday, kind of the same system coming in. It actually warms up Milwaukee while it cools down Minneapolis, but it gives you those chances for showers, maybe a rumble of thunder or two. But overall, you've got, even in Milwaukee, you've got that sunny day on Sunday. Saturday, maybe a day to do some puzzles or just drink some beer, start at noon instead of maybe 3 or whenever you normally start. But it looks like a good weekend, Tom.
Thanks, Aaron. Fantastic. Looking forward to the weather here in Minneapolis, where I'm currently stuck. Wish I was in Milwaukee, even though it's supposed to be a little crappy down there, maybe. Milwaukee's kind of interesting. I've been observing the weather there for a couple of years now, and it's like it'll be nice up here, it'll be crummy down there, especially they have like a longer spring because of the lake. It's kind of warming up, but then their fall down in Milwaukee is glorious. It lasts way longer than up here usually, because that lake also kind of takes longer to cool down, like Michigan. What a beautiful city, Milwaukee. Anyway, we have been collecting some tips while we've been away watching all these videos, and I want to call some folks out. Thomas Kiekoffer, I believe that is the brother of our video man here, Andy, and he says, "Hi, Andy." That's what he says. Hi to Andy K. That's nice. And then Mitchell came back with another $1 just to remind me that he gets a free beer when he comes back in here. We had, let's see who else we had here. Liberty Luckin. Happy Friday to the return of peeps. Cheers. Andy Kiekoffer then also tried to show his brother up, which is probably pretty normal, and tipped. Casey Ruby Wittenhove, she tipped as well. Thank you for the awesome taproom staff. They miss you. Jeannie Chacon, thank you again. You're always on here tipping us. I really appreciate it. Lanny from up in Fargo. Lanny, good to hear from you, Lanny. Lanny tipped. Thank you, Lanny. Lanny is a great guy who's been a big Indeed fan, big supporter of Indeed for a long time. And is a great guy. So consider tipping our taproom staff. We got Justin White here, tip jar, miss our spot at the bar, and Sarah's smiling face. Sarah Horning is doing good, I will promise you though, Justin. She's hanging in there, and she's actually been working a lot, shipping out merchandise. People have been buying our merchandise, so they go to IndieBrewing.com. There's a store there. You can buy hats, you can buy all. We have like actually new stuff too. So we are continuing actually right now. The canning line is running right now. You know, so we still are a business. In fact, you know, I think that we're doing probably better than, you know, a lot of businesses out there. We're still suffering. We've lost about 50% of our revenue. We've had to make some difficult adjustments, and including having to close the tap room, and the tap room staff then are not getting those tips that they usually get. So, you know, we miss having this tap room bustling right now. Again, it's almost 6 o'clock, and there usually be a lot of my favorite people in here. Nothing better than come out here and seeing a bunch of smiling faces. Can't wait to get back to that. So we've got just a couple more small segments coming up, and then we're going to say goodbye and happy weekend. Coming up next, though, it's a really funny one. Last week we had Pete Irwin on, who his real name is Evan, and he's a beer tender here, someone who you should be tipping right now. And he's got an Earth Day special. So let's see what creatures he finds in the dense urban jungle of northeast Minneapolis.
G'day, I'm Pete Irwin, and today is Earth Day. What a beautiful day it is. I'm going to be spending my time on Earth Day going for a bit of fishing and picking up litter. So, I've got my pole right here, I've got my tackle. The one thing I'm missing is bait. Most important thing of all. Now, fish like earthworms are night crawlers, so I'm going to go hunting for those in this little leaf litter over here. Follow me. Now let's see what I can find. These leaves have been here since fall, so they're all mouldy and kind of nasty, but I think that earthworms kind of like that environment, so let's give it a go. Alright, what do we have here? Oh, it's pretty nasty. I don't know, I think I might find something in here, but it might be a little bit too wet. Oh, crikey, it's pretty wet. I think it might be too wet for them. They're drowned in here. It gives me another idea. Let's go over here. Alright, what we have down here is evidence of earthworms. Let's have a look. You can see these little bumps of dirt right here. That means that there's been an earthworm there. They crawl up at night, get some air, but it looks like they've gone back down, so I have a plan to get them back out. Let's see if it works. Alright, so I've got my hose here, and the plan is we're going to kind of drown out the worms, and they're going to come up to the surface, and then we'll plop them right up and use them for bait. Might take a few minutes and see how it works. Keep it all. Let's have a look here, see if we found anything. Oh, crikey! Here we are. Look at that. Got a nice little earthworm here. You just got to drown them out, they got to get some fresh air. All right, here we go. Here's another. All right, that's two. Oh, crikey, look at him. Look at him go. What a little wiggler. Woo-wee! You're all right, mate. Not for long though, you're going to be fish bait. Alright, now that I have everything that I need to go fishing, it's time to do my part on Earth Day. Go around my neighbourhood, pick up some litter, recycling, old junk, you know, just clean things up a bit. If you have time this weekend, go out, take a walk, grab a couple of bags, one for recycling, one for other litter, go clean up your streets, it'll be great. And then reward yourself with some Indeed beer. Alright, I found a bunch of trash, done my responsibility on Earth Day. For recycling and recycling. Crikey, let's go get a beer. G'day.
Hello.
Could I have a Lucy, please?
Sure can, sir.
Alright.
There you are, sir.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Alright, grab a beer, do some cleaning outside, go fishing. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Pete. I hope you guys all had a fantastic Earth Day this week. It was a beautiful day out. And, you know, I guess the Earth got a pretty nice little gift with everything that's going on. Nobody's driving anywhere and everything else. So maybe that's a silver lining, I guess. We've got the Milwaukee Minute next. Amanda and Jeff are down there in Milwaukee at 530 South 2nd Street, Milwaukee, 53204, Wisconsin. And they're going to give us a little report from what's going on down there in our beautiful Milwaukee tap room.
Did anybody hear that? Hey guys, we're back here in Milwaukee for a second run of the Milwaukee Minute. Since the first one went so well and our viewers were just begging for more. We're here in our Milwaukee Walker's Point tap room on the shores of Lake Michigan. We're still paddling away at this brewery and tap room. I'm drinking a Zwickel beer right now. This is one of my favorite beers we do. It's our unfiltered Pilsner. It's on tap now here. We got a little more coming your way from Amanda, our taproom manager. She's going to be telling you about some cool things we got going in our taproom. Pros.
Hey, cool guys. Welcome back to the Milwaukee Minute. Just wanted to let you know about a couple new things going on. We got BOGO Box. That means you buy one, you get another one for free. Pretty cool. The other thing, wanted to mention again, keep coloring, people. Finish your product, tag Indeed Milwaukee on Instagram, and you will be automatically entered to win this dope Chuck You screen print. Pretty rad. And that's all we have for the Milwaukee Minute.
Thanks, Amanda and Jeff. So fantastic. Can't wait to see you guys. I think it's time that I break something. You guys are probably wondering why this watermelon's been sitting here. But we're not going to do it right here. We're going to just we're going to kind of go up to the roof here and see what happens. All right. Change shirts and everything and run all the way up to the roof so quick, and yeah, watermelon all over my face, but that was fun. So thanks for the suggestion coming from our wonderful people out there about what to break. We were running out of ideas, and somebody messaged in and said watermelons. I think actually his name is Gallagher. Was his name? I don't know, I think so. So we got one last little clip, just a little heartwarming thing. For those of you like myself who are sheltering in place alone and don't have like a wonderful little baby to kind of hang out and sort of distract us, here's a video for you right now of a baby doing something really cute. I've been saying in our marketing meetings for years, start them young. Get them hooked on this stuff young. Well, that's why we have root beer. I'm sorry, I didn't say that. That's really inappropriate. She was checking our date codes, and Kelly's sitting over here. That's our beautiful baby right there. And so super fun to see that. You know what? We're pretty much done here. So I guess I just have some final thoughts to share with you, which, you know, I just wing it. But I did a little math before this, and we've been sheltering in place for 35 days now, roughly 35 days. That's 840 hours that a lot of us have spent primarily at home, away from our coworkers, away from our friends, away from our family. And we've had countless video calls. We've burnt countless frozen pizzas, if you're me. We've cleaned, we've not cleaned, we've taken out the trash, we have not taken out the trash. I personally have never run out of clean underwear. I've definitely been keeping on top of my laundry. I've had ambitious and productive days, and I've had lazy days, and I'm sure you're all the same. There's been big ups and there's been some pretty big downs. But I think one thing I've noticed here at Indeed, at least with the people that I work with, is resilience. You know, it's been 35 days, which has felt kind of like a long time at times. It kind of depends on where I was in my binge watching, or in my Zoom meeting, or sleeping in, or whatever it might be. But I've watched all the people here at Indeed, you know, whatever their situation is, really be resilient. They've really bounced back, and they've found ways to move forward through this. Just here at Indeed alone, if you look at the reductions that we've had to do in our labor and our work to keep the business running, in the last 35 days, we've lost 4,400 hours of work. People have not worked 4,400 hours total that they would have worked based on our reductions. And you think about that. You think about all that time that would have gone towards, you know, yeah, sure, the furtherment of Indeed as a business, but also, you know, people work at Indeed, I know, in a lot of places because they enjoy it and because it's part of their life and part of their identity, and and something that they enjoy. And I think that's something we've always taken a lot of pride of here. But back to that resilience part, despite that loss, which has been extremely painful, we've watched here at Indeed our staff do amazing things. We spent Wednesday before the first shelter in place Friday, and we had to go through these tough changes, and then we said, what are we going to do now? And within 24 hours, we were selling crowlers and growlers out the front door of the brewery. The sales team people who used to go into bars were going to liquor stores with gloves and masks on and helping service those places. And now, since this new law has passed, they've been finding ways to help those places sell beer. There was an email that went out earlier this week from some sort of like beer sales thing we get, and it's kind of like a newsletter. And there was an article written by someone who works for a big beer or something, and he's like, "Oh well, now is the time to show compassion, to show empathy, and to do all these things." And we were reading this thing, and a couple of us were talking. It's like, if you haven't been compassionate and empathetic before this, then I don't think you're going to get there. If you haven't really cared about your customer, if you haven't cared about the community, you're not going to get there. And I'll tell you what, our staff here at Indeed, they do care about the customers, they do care about the community, they do care about each other, and I think that's one of the reasons they've been so resilient. So I just want to say cheers to our staff. I know that they're not doctors, they're not nurses, they're not medical workers, but I'm here today, whether it be our taproom staff who have not been able to work as much, or whether it be the people that are back here behind this wall right now, packaging beer into cans so that you guys can go by the liquor store, our team up front in the Ox who are doing these crowlers right now so you guys can walk down here and get them. Thank you to those guys. Cheers to those guys, and cheers to all of you. I know you're being resilient as well, and I hope you keep it up. And if it has to be to another 35 days, cheers. Let's go. That's it.